Hello, we're at CES 2016 in Las Vegas, and we have a chance to catch up with Alticast and Bill Helms, who is the Senior Vice President and Chief Architect of Alticast. So, Bill, I understand that with this show, you're introducing another iteration of your UI template, AltiView 3.
Correct.
And that it has some additional functionalities beyond what you've had before, and it's also characterized to work and take advantage of the UHD screen environment.
With AltiView 3, this is our next generation user experience. And in the past, as we've went from AltiView 1 to AltiView 2, we've incorporated new concepts into the user experience that an operator can provide. And we've done both, ones where it's one complete user experience that the consumer, that the operator can gather and provide to the consumer, or they can take individual concepts. And what we've done here is we're introducing AltiView 3 and really the collection of functionality that's present in AltiView 3 to start associating content that the operator has and that they're providing to their subscriber, and give that consumer not only a better way of discovering it, but also a better way for the operator to associate their content with that consumer, not only as their subscriber, but that consumer as a total person. And there are other parts of their lifestyle, other media they participate with, as well as other things that are going on in their life. And to take that and relate that to the operator's content and build a closer bond between. And they could be mixed and matched in different ways.
Well, why don't you show us a little bit about what AltiView 3 is all about?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you. We'd like to introduce our next generation user experience that we call AltiView 3. First thing we'd like to talk about is that what we're showing this on is UHD. So it has a greater increase of resolution, which allows us to put more on the screen because we have finer detail. Now, this is not necessarily only have to be UHD, but it makes it nice that we can show a lot of concepts on the screen in a much more crisper manner. So we're starting at the first part here. What we're showing is live television, and in this case it's sports content, and we're seeing the details of the sports content. In addition to that, if you think about it, it's a mosaic of other sports content that's available here. So the association was, you're watching sports, I will show you other sports information, and the information, how we may present this mosaic, the technology behind it, can vary depending upon the actual operator's network. So it could be a separate mosaic video stream, it could be a collection of tuners that are available in the box. It could be implemented a lot of different ways. The key concept is, I'm showing you related content to what you're seeing on the screen. I think everyone's pretty familiar with this concept. Then we go to the next sort of stage of, I'm still watching live TV, but what I'm showing you here now is the popularity of the actual content that's being shown at the exact same time. So I can see right now that 20% of the viewership, and that definition of the viewership could be as small or as large as you want, right? It could be a national viewership, it could be your local viewership. But we could show what's the most popular content and allow the viewers to select from there. As we go into the next section here, what we'd like to show is building on top of that and showing things that I think people are generally familiar with, but perhaps a different way to see it, right? Which is, what are the genres? What are the things that are people watching? So I can bring up a particular movie like Lucy. I can look at those related elements or other shows, and as an operator, I can pre-position, other content that I would like to see associated with this, or I'd like to encourage people to watch a new movie that might be released. So this content could be related in different ways. Now I look at you as an individual consumer. So this is your video shelf, right? So these are videos you have either are recently watched or TV series you've recently watched. And if we go back to the top part there, where we look at, as you saw it come across, is profiles, right? So I can identify an individual user, I can identify a collection of users. I can look at their own material content, whether that's off the PC, their local media, or off of other cloud services that may be available. And then I can build, essentially, here is your video shelf of things that you either would like to watch, you've recently watched, or we think would be things you'd be interested in. And on top of that, I will provide to you, whatever your own local content that could be available on the network. Another interesting way of looking how content relates to this particular consumer is a timeline. So for example, the one I think where a lot of us are familiar with is you want to see what's on now. So we give you some options here. You could look at shows you may want to catch up on, series that you haven't watched for a few weeks and you may need to catch up on the episodes. We can show you recordings that you've previously made. Or we could talk about new videos or new VOD or series that are coming soon. I think people are familiar with that sort of, here's what's on, here's what you've recorded, here's what's next. But we give you a couple of other interesting views. One is we can show you what you've watched before, so you could scroll back to yesterday, and you can see that these are the live events or the live TV shows you've watched. Here are recordings off your DVR or off your network DVR that you've watched, music that you listen to, photos that you watch, movies that you watch. In addition to that, we can collect data over periods of time and then provide more useful information to the consumer that, hey, 30% of the time you watch thriller movies over the last 2 weeks. So it's a way of guiding the consumer and giving them feedback that you understand what they do, what they're watching and how they're interacting with your service. Another interesting aspect that we see and that we see a lot of value in is how do I draw relationships between the operator's content and what the consumer is doing in their real life. So for example, let's say you've recently been to London, you've uploaded photos. That information is available within the photos of the GPS coordinates on the photos, various ways of getting the information. You could then take that single piece of metadata that this consumer has been to London recently and say, maybe they would be interested in content that is related to London or to England or to Great Britain in general. It allows you to draw connections between what the consumer does in real life and what the content that they're watching.
I would assume that going forward now with the multi-screen environment being what it is and the competition for eyeballs and retention and all those things, that this level of personalization in the user interface is now going to become table stakes. So we'll be very interested in seeing how this rolls out as the year ensues and beyond. Thank you very much, Bill, for taking the time to tell us about it.
Thank you for coming by.
Okay.
Thank you for coming by.